Welcome back to the picture of Dorian Gray. And aren't you fortunate to be studying this stylish, witty writer, Oscar Wilde? He writes a lot about corrupt characters. What does corrupt mean? Do you remember? Anyone? Yes, corrupt means the idea that you are spoiling something both morally or physically. But how might Lord Henry's words corrupt people? Imagine readers of this novel or characters within the novel. What did Lord Henry say? What did he believe in that could be corrupting? Let's think for a moment. Well, he wanted the idea, he believed in the idea of beauty for beauty's sake. Live a beautiful life, live a youthful life, live an outrageous life. Age will take all lilies and roses, didn't he say that? So he believes Dorian should go out and live as if he's going to be young forever. What does that mean? Drink a lot, have affairs, stay up late. This is a corrupting influence. Hedonism then. Do you remember what hedonism is? From the Greek hedone, meaning pleasure. It is the idea that you live for pleasure. You live in a self-indulgent way. But what or which did Lord Henry want to see? I say which because there are two choices. Either the great hedonism or a new hedonism. Do you remember? Well, if not, it is a new hedonism. But how exactly is Lord Henry presented as hedonist? If you were paying attention, the answer was about 20 seconds ago. How is Lord Henry presented as a hedonist? Let's push on. Today, we are giving you a creative task. Some drawing and labeling. So you visualize Lord Henry and Dorian Gray, basically draw them. But you need to find some relevant quotations from chapter 2. Label the illustration with descriptive quotations. So what do they look like? What do Dorian's lips look like? What do Lord Henry's clothes, his fingers look like? Anything that gives you a clue as to how they appear physically. And then you add a key quotation from the dialogue of each character that gives you the essence of what they believe in. So something that reflects their personality, something in a speech bubble that they say. Do you want to see how other people have visualized them, directors or artists? Let's have a look. This is Dorian. Do you know that this story is about someone who looks young, but is actually older than he is? He has a portrait painted of him, and the portrait ages, but he doesn't. So this is Dorian, the youthful one, and the corrupt one on the right-hand side. Here is a book cover of a youthful-looking Dorian. Of course, he's a dandy, he's elegant, or you could say he's an exquisite, which means he's flawlessly dressed, and remains so, really, until the very end of the novel. Here is youthful Dorian looking at, set against, what with a backdrop of his own portrait. So it is actually Dorian in the background, but the portrait ages, he doesn't. He keeps the portrait in a loft. In the next lesson, I haven't spoiled the story because in the next lesson we go straight to the end of the novel where he shows the artist what's happened to his painting. And again, elegant Dorian and old, corrupt, sinful Dorian. So how about Lord Henry then? This is actually a movie version of the novel. I remember watching this in a school that I trained at, and it's extremely it's quite graphic actually, but it's a bit quite embarrassing to watch it in class. But there it is. Colin Firth playing Lord Henry, elegant, has a paternal quality about him, quite an intimate quality as well. And of course, we need to capture that sense of confidence and languid elegance. Remember, languid means relaxed. So it's over to you. I had a go at this as well. Please don't say, well, I can't draw, so I'm not going to get into it. I'll show you some examples in a moment, but first I had a go and I want to show you which quotations I referred to. So I'm going to jump across the programs to Word, find the picture of Dorian Gray. Here we are. First of all, let's look at a portrait of, let's have a look at a description of Dorian Gray. Rebellious curls, look of fear in his eyes, possibly because he's been embarrassed by Henry startling him. Scarlet lips. There is another description. Yes, Lord Henry looked at Dorian. He was wonderfully handsome. He had curved scarlet lips, and he kept himself unspotted from the world, if you like. He has that pure, that innocence as pure as the driven snow. He's without sin, so it's reflected in his face. How about Lord Henry then? Let's look at Lord Henry. Remember, he had the olive-coloured face, worn expression, flower-like hands. There's something to do with music, isn't there? He spoke like music, and he makes comments. If I was looking for something that captured the essence of Lord Henry, I could have chosen this. There's absolutely nothing in the world but youth. I'll show you a new hedonism. That's what our country wants, our century wants. I chose something along those lines. So we go back to my rather comic attempts. So I've given myself two attitudes. One is the I can't draw attitude. Lord Henry, stick man, basically. But what the key to this really is looking at the quotations and interpreting them. Cool white hands, olive-coloured face. It's actually more olive-appearing face, but if you could only do stick men, go for it, round face. But what we want you to do is interpret their words. To me, beauty is the wonder of wonders, he says in the speech bubble. Let's have a quick look at Dorian. I decided to push myself a bit more and draw something, Dorian among the lilac blossoms, burying his face in the lilac blossoms. There are the scarlet lips. I'm afraid in isolation I have access to very little colour. So there are his scarlet lips. Pink highlighter. If the picture could change and I could be always what I am now, that's what Dorian says on one of the pages you have. Wonderfully handsome as well. Finally, so there you go. We visualize Lord Henry and Dorian, label the illustration with descriptive quotations plus something of what they say. Finally, what aspects of Oscar Wilde's life have been reflected in the novel so far? So we know that Oscar Wilde was famous for the wrong reasons at that time, but we also know something about his spending habits and what he enjoyed when he was out and about. So we look forward to seeing your work.